joining. Let's wait for Chris to join the call, and then what we can do is talk about USD plans for spring break.
Oh, Juanita, Chris just texted me and he says that the link you sent him isn't working. Let me try and get a hold of him.
Oh, okay. Let me send him the link. And also, I'll also send you guys to our WhatsApp group the pictures of where I want us to travel, okay? With the things. Okay, done.
Hey guys.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Hi. Juanita, what is this that you just sent? The pictures are so blurry. What are they? By the way, I'm really hungry. Why don't we go to Cuba? The line is getting too long.
Guys, we need to focus. I don't even know what the purpose of this call is. The subject line just said country travel.
Hey, what's up, man? How was fun last night?
Chris, you're not muted.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Okay, guys, let's brainstorm any ideas of where you want to travel.
What? Rita, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Erica?
I'm gonna try to text her to try to reconnect.
Okay. So guys, any idea of where we want to travel? Guys? Oh my god, this meeting is horrible.
So obviously, as you can see, virtual communication could go really wrong if you're not prepared. I'm sure some of those things might look familiar to some of you in the audience. And if being humiliated like Juanita isn't enough to motivate you to work on your virtual communication, here's 3 other reasons why it's important for you as GSB students and future business business leaders. First of all, it's valued by employees. Studies show that over 80% of businesses today utilize video conferencing for one-to-one communication, and over 76% of businesses utilize them for team communication. That's something that's going to be very broad in use. Second, studies show that it increases productivity by over 13% by having flexible work from home policies that allow people to video conference for their job. And 3, and I think this is the most important part as future business leaders, it's growing in necessity every day. 87% more people in the global workforce today utilize video conferencing than they did 2 years ago. And this is supposed to accelerate over time. Next slide. So how can we do better at our video conferencing? There's 3 main ways. The 3 Ps you could call them. Plan, product, and presence. First, it's important to make sure that you're prepared before the meeting so that you're able to be successful. Second, it's important to focus on your product or content to make sure that's effective and engaging. And third, it's always important to keep in mind your presence on camera, which can be even more important than when you're face-to-face. So to begin, let's start with how you can work on your plan.
As you saw, I had not planned correctly the meeting. It is crucial to plan any sort of communication, especially virtual communication. And that's why I recommend 3 things. 1, be prepared. 2, define clear roles and responsibilities. And 3, test, but have a plan B. Be prepared. You don't want to be the person that you see in that picture. The number 1 reason that virtual communications fail is due to the fact of lack of planning. So this is why we recommend identify the clear topic that you want to set the meeting for. Know your audience. Identify who you want to attend and also where they will be. Why is that? You have to take into account the time zones as well as the duration of the meeting. And finally, have the appropriate technology for the call. This technology would be if you need video, if you need audio, or also if you need to present any sort of communication. Define roles. Don't fly solo. Clearly, I was flying solo in the meeting. I had to be multiple roles at a time. Make sure that to make the meeting engaging and have an appropriate flow, have people define roles across the people from your meeting and also define responsibilities. As you see in the book, The Exceptional Presenter Goes Viral by Timothy J. Kogel, he defines and recommends a few roles for the meetings. As an example, the producer, the person in charge of creating the slides, defining the agenda, creating the meeting. Second, the host and co-host. This is similar to a TV show. We also want facilitator, the person in charge of communicating the host and the audience. It could be through questions or concerns. Tech support. Clearly, we needed that in our call. I was both tech support, host, co-host, but if we had a person in charge of tech support at first, it would have been much easier to communicate Chris back in. And finally, a reporter. A person who's in charge of taking into account actions and meeting minutes through the call. And finally, test and have a plan B. Make sure everything works in the call. The technology, the people, but also have a plan B in case technology doesn't work, which has happened to all of us. In our meeting, it was clear that Chris had not tested the link at first, and I hadn't sent the correct email. So remember, planning is a crucial base for a clear and accurate verbal communication.
Having a unique and relatable product is key to the success of every business. When crafting your virtual communication, keep this in mind. Keep this mindset as well. I will share with you some simple steps to make sure that your final product is both engaging and effective. First, set an agenda. Second, make it hard to look away. And third, end with next steps. How many times have you joined a virtual meeting with little or no context as regard the objective of the call? We just watched Erica baffle with the country travel invite. So, when we thought back to Juanita's case, she could have said that the goal was to plan an unforgettable GST experience. Or maybe she just wanted to minimize the time spent planning the GST to make sure that she fulfilled her travel requirement that she couldn't fulfill before because of coronavirus. You can also keep a timer in the background to make sure that you hold yourself accountable. So make sure you share an agenda and have timing for each section. Tip number 2. Make a commitment and ask for a commitment. Make a promise to keep your presentation short as long as your audience give your undivided attention. Start with the unexpected. You can share a video clip or an audio clip like we did today, cite some significant statistics, or share a powerful, vivid story. Also, avoid too much detail. Remember that you can share the minutiae later. Finally, incorporate your audience in creative ways. You can pose some trivia questions, making sure that the answer to those questions are part of the content of the presentation. Remember, attention spans are short, as David pointed out earlier. Well, let me tell you that attention spans are really, really short when you go virtual. Finally, end with next steps. Align on firm, clear follow-up plans. Do you feel that Erica, Chris, or I left well-equipped that meeting, knowing what we should do about the GST planning? Well, put expectations in writing. Make sure that you're clear on what are the next steps, who should be responsible, and when should deliverables be ready. That way, your audience will make sure that they understand exactly what they need to do. And also, you have established public accountability.
Now that we've talked about planning and the actual product of the call, let's talk about your presence. Anytime that you appear on a screen, you are communicating nonverbal messages. What message do you want to send? Today we're going to give you 3 tips about how you can effectively have a strong presence in virtual communications. First, look like you're in the room. Second, exude confidence and enthusiasm. And finally, use appropriate gestures. First, look like you're in the room. As you can see here, Chris chose to be an Arbuckle, which may or may not be the appropriate setting, depending on the meeting. You may want to reserve a breakout room if it's more formal of a virtual call. But it's also important to frame your image naturally. So you'll see here that it goes from the top of his head to about his chest area. The ideal place to position yourself in a virtual call is actually from a few inches above your head to just where the table or desk meets you. And that's because if I was sitting across from you, that's how I would see you in person. Second, vary your eye contact. So this is, of course, a little bit of an exaggerated example, but as you can see, your eye contact and any eye movements is exaggerated if you are sitting very close to the camera. So again, it's important to be an appropriate distance away so that you look more natural on the video call. In addition, if I'm sitting across from you in a coffee chat and I'm staring directly into your eyes the entire time, you probably won't feel comfortable. So it's not natural to do that in a video call either. You should, of course, look into the camera and make eye contact, but also feel free to vary it throughout the call. And then finally, dress appropriately. Again, obviously an exaggerated example, but don't wear a shower cap. Also, be sure to dress appropriately as if you were, again, in the room for the meeting, from your head to your toe. So if the doorbell rings, you don't want to get caught with your pajama bottoms under your suit jacket. Next, exude confidence and enthusiasm. If you are not in the room, your voice has even more power related to your message. It's important that you let your confidence and enthusiasm flow through in order to hold the audience's attention. So what we saw here is that once Juanita started to speak in a more monotone voice, Facu was driven to distractions on his phone. Instead, she could have spoken with more animation, and she could have also made sure to speak at an appropriately high volume with lots of clarity. And then finally, use appropriate gestures. Similar to the eye contact and the movement with that, your gestures are accentuated on a video call since the image is within one frame. Also, if your hands get close to the actual camera, they're going to look very large in proportion to your head, as you can see in this picture. And again, that does not look natural. We want to make you look as natural as possible. So be sure to use natural hand gestures rather than fidgeting. That will help convey confidence. And also be sure to not put them too close to the camera as you move. Only use hand gestures that reinforce your message at an appropriate distance.
So, before we open up for questions, there's 3 things that we want you to take away. The 3 Ps, you could call them, for business school people. Make sure you have an appropriate plan. Make sure your product is effective and engaging. And keep in mind your presence even when you're working remotely.